Hello everybody, it's CapCorgi here. I wanted to talk about James Bond 007 First Light. I've gotten the chance to play 4 hours of it. Probably about 2 hours in the actual game, but you know, with the talking, because I am streaming it, and with all of the goofiness that I do, trying to explore every crevasse and every inch of every stage, it takes me a little bit longer than usual. 2 hours in probably to the actual gameplay if you're playing normally, but if you're me and a completionist, 4 hours in, super awesome game. I wanted to give my first impressions, talk about this game, and why I think it might be the best James Bond we've gotten since either GoldenEye or Nightfire. That's right, bow tie and all. We are bearded, of course, but besides that, we're cosplaying Bond. Have been all night and will be for as much of a playthrough as I can possibly bear with a bow tie. But I'm excited, so let's get into it. James Bond 007 First Light. First of all, one of the big things is that this game is super immersive. One of the things I covered in the preview was the various aspects of Bond that were really not shown even in games as great as Nightfire and GoldenEye, in terms of, you know, just exploring, stealth, using your quips, using your ingenuity as Bond, using your gadgets. You use a couple of gadgets, but you don't use a lot of them. In 007 Nightfire or GoldenEye, use a laser watch and some other smaller ones. But in this, you use a lot. And like I said, we're still at the very beginning. And so we played the intro, and we're in, this is not really a spoiler, because you see in the trailers and stuff that James Bond is not really the guy yet. He is just a trainee. Just someone learning the ropes. Just someone that is like, you know, very, very brand new. I'll be only showing early gameplay, and he's not even 00. The entire tagline for the game is "Earn the Number." You are just a special air service trainee. You're kind of working on helicopters. You're kind of like helping the pilots and stuff. When you are thrust into a situation where you must become the James Bond that everyone knows and loves, and at least start that journey. So this is really starting from the very, very beginning. And a lot of people are a little weirded out by, you know, James Bond's look and everything like that, but this is actually, you know, book accurate. A lot of the details for this game are in the books, which is really, really cool. And, you know, there are references made to the various games and the various movies throughout the years. You know, you hear talks of like someone using a crocodile as a disguise and so on and so forth. And, you know, that's obviously a reference to Live and Let Die. I'm one of the biggest Bond fans. I know pretty much everything about the movies and the games. I've watched all of the movies. I know them by heart. I've read all the books. I'm a huge Bond fan. And, but like I was saying, the immersive nature of this game is really, really one of the most unique parts of it. I really appreciate the attention to detail, going through the various levels, the types of things you can do. It is IOI Interactive, the makers of Hitman, and that is a very, very good thing, because this game is by nature supposed to be quite a bit more immersive, quite a bit more exploratory, quite a bit more cinematic, much more akin to an Uncharted game than, you know, 007 Nightfire or 007, you know, GoldenEye or anything like that. But it kind of works really, really well. You get to see, you know, the ability to use bluffs. You get the ability to have action set pieces, and very impressive ones at that. Really extremely good cinematics. The engine runs extremely well. I was a little worried when I had the preview, and I will show the preview in the description below. So if you do want that preview, definitely grab that. I went into detail for the previously released information. As in like, you know, the big gameplay that IOI Interactive was kind enough to release last year, talking about like what they're trying to do with various game levels and so on and so forth, which is a lot of great information. But one of the worries in that was the level of optimization. And yes, this game is not perfectly optimized by any means whatsoever, but as you can see in the top left of your screen, I did have my FPS meter running the entire time, And even in the very key slowdown areas, large explosions, big flashy set pieces, and all of that, the game ran extremely smooth. I was very impressed. You know, we're averaging about like 80 to 90 to 100 FPS on the regular. And, you know, there are a little bit of hiccups and stuff, but my computer is quite a bit older than most of yours. So that is part of it. And also I am on a laptop as opposed to, you know, a desktop. I have a 4070 laptop GPU. That's quite a bit, you know, lower powered than the 5070, quite a bit lower powered than a normal 4070 or very much a 4080, which a lot of people are running nowadays. Yeah, the optimization is definitely pretty good. It's not perfect. Definitely could use some work. Definitely will get better as patches go on and everything. But this is day one launch. So for a day one launch, I am running everything at high. And, you know, I had DLSS on, just the normal setting of DLSS. It's not like I was running it on performance mode or anything like that. No, this was running very smoothly. And the game looks beautiful. Very good, intricate details. One of the things that I realized that they are doing in the Glacier engine, which is what the engine that IOI uses for their Hitman games and everything else, that's why they're able to have so many NPCs. That's why they're able to have like so many like really wide vistas with extremely long draw distances. It's because of their engine and because of the fact that they're not focused on having like weird things that a lot of, you know, Unreal Engine 5 games and so on are like very purposefully using all the time. Like you can see like the mount in the back, it looked great. But is it like lumen level lighting detail? No, it doesn't need to be. And it's not, and that's totally fine. The lighting is very good, but it's a lighting that's not like, you know, reflecting every molecule and making it look like all crazy, like you know, Unreal Engine 5's Lumen does. I think that actually serves the game extremely well. This is not a knock on the game. I prefer it when games focus on graphical style and the ease of use in the gameplay rather than sheer fidelity. I'm just exploring one of the early levels in the gameplay that I've recorded on stream earlier today, and so that's all you're seeing. This is literally the prologue level, so don't worry, not really any spoilers. I'm just kind of showing you what the graphics look like in game, what the gameplay that I was able to record. This is, by the way, a level where you don't even have a gun yet, so you're not going to see the shooting or anything, but the shooting mechanics are very good. The combat mechanics are extremely smooth. You got a mix of all kinds of different moves. I will skip ahead so you can actually see some of that. You have this entire... Actually, one of the really cool things is after you do that little prologue level, this is... that's like the pre-prologue. Then you get the really beautiful, like, they made an actual James Bond song. They made it extremely cinematic. One of the best transitions I've ever seen in a Bond game. And I won't spoil it because it's like a pretty badass moment. Granted, it's in like the first 35 minutes of the game. So it's pretty easy to get to. But it is a really cool little bit. But it's one of the best transitions I've seen in a movie, at least in a Bond movie, in ages. Absolutely. Like, akin to Casino Royale, as in Daniel Craig Casino Royale, where it's like he shoots the gun and then immediately goes to the title sequence and everything like that, and in the bathroom and all that. Dude, such a good scene. But like this felt that cinematic. The person who made this game, the person who directed this game, has the sauce. Now, one of the other highlights is the acting in this game. Everyone is killing it. The kid that they got to play Bond, I was a little unsure about. He is young and his voice sounded a little like, you know, a little rough. But it's because he's younger, and it's supposed to be like the younger, untested, you know, really not exactly the most suave yet Bond and so on. But that's not a bad thing, by the way. There is a really good situation where Bond is already sharing whole bunches of quips, whole bunches of like talking and discussion and all kinds of really awesome things like that. He is Bond. One of the other parts I was worried about is Bond going to be suave? Is it going to be debonair? This is some of the shooting mechanics as well. You do have like a little focus mode, which is I didn't really know how to do it because I'm not playing on controller, so I'm playing on keyboard and mouse. The focus mode is like bullet time. You can think of it as like Max Payne bullet time style, which is like in a lot of games. Anyways, the one of the things I was worried about was, are they going to make Bond too untested, too incompetent, perhaps? You know, modern day writing tends to do that to some of our heroes. We saw that with the Indiana Jones movie, the more recent one, and many other ones. You know, some of the Marvels and this and that. Like, it's been a hot topic of discussion, and I think the term woke is overused. But that was one of the worries, of course, with a game like this, because, you know, Bond has had his entirely, let's just say, interesting times during his movie tenure, where he's sometimes more dramatic, sometimes he's less dramatic, sometimes he is more suave, sometimes he's far more quippy, you know, things like that. This James Bond is very funny, and it's not like too funny, but he is not holding back. He is flirting. We do see a censored but a sex scene. He is the sexy Bond. You're not like hitting on everything to the point that you're ruining missions or anything like that, which, you know, some people on social media are pissed off about. But you're an agent first. Bond has always been a serious guy when he needs to be. He's always about the mission first. This has always been a thing with Bond, and this is very much this Bond. He is a professional. He does have his major issues with authority. He is 26 years old, by the way. We did confirm his age in the beginning of the game here. And so he is, like, you know, quite a bit rough around the edges. But he still is that shining example of Bond and, like, a true hero in the making that we were all hoping for when we saw this game. You know, there's not been any preachiness to this game. There's not been any people, like, you know, women stomping on Bond. There's no section of M saying you're a sexist, misogynistic dinosaur, relic of the Stone Age. One of my favorite quotes from GoldenEye, by the way. You know, a lot of people that were complaining about that, because there was an IOI article about how he's not going to be a sexist, misogynistic dinosaur. And one of the things that people were incorrect about is they didn't realize the entire arc of GoldenEye is him proving he's not that. He's more than just a blunt instrument. He's more than just someone that can be used and thrown away because he's not really a good guy or anything like that. And he proves that to M throughout that game. This is very much akin to that. You are proving to everyone your worth. You're proving to yourself your worth. And from the very, very beginning, you do this crazy mission to save other people, to be the hero, to put yourself in harm's way when everyone is telling you, hey, it's okay to sit back. It's okay to not take the mission of death. Bond is the guy who's like, no, I want to actually do good. I want to save my fellow man. I want to save the world. And I think that's really the crux of who Bond is. And along the way, you're goofy, you're having fun, you're, you know, meeting cute girls. The models in this game are absolutely gorgeous. This is one of the levels where you see some of the sexiness in there, where you are doing this, like, bar sequence. You're in this giant club, extremely early on, by the way. This is like, you know, the very next stage. And, like, I mean, there were people worried like they were going to make like characters ugly Karens and things like that. This is not an ugly Karen. This is one of the other like more main actors in the game. By the way, this is one of the. I don't know if she's going to be a love interest or not. It hasn't made that clear or anything like that. But she is definitely like a side character, a very important side character. You're in training to be a 00 along with her. Not a spoiler. It's right at the beginning. But yeah, so like, you know, there's this entire sequence in the club, and this is where, by the way, the game really opens up. There's multiple paths throughout this level, and it seems every subsequent level. The first one is the tutorial, and there were still some branching places to go. You could go up the hill, you could go down, you could attack various ways. The little encampment of soldiers, you could free the soldiers that are your friends in various different ways. There were special things you could do, which is great, by the way. This is the openness that I was hoping for when I saw an IOI Interactive, a Hitman-made James Bond game. And it's great. It's great. You know, there's multiple objectives. There's multiple ways to do every single objective. And there are, interestingly enough, repercussions for the things you choose in the level, which kind of makes you want to have the ability to replay the game. And it's really, really awesome. Something I didn't expect, actually. In this level, I'm not going to spoil exactly what happens by any means whatsoever, but in this level, there is a character you can interact with in a certain way, and if you do, it will have repercussions down the road for the rest of this level. And I thought that was awesome. And it was very, very clear this event later on is happening because you chose to do the beginning part in this manner. And if you hadn't, they would have done something else. And I thought that was absolutely awesome. I thought that was absolutely awesome. And I really hope that that really continues. And I hope that they even expand upon that in later levels. This was the last level that I completed in our early playthrough. So again, this is like about the second hour into the game. For any normal person not named CapCorgi, who is just taking forever exploring every single conversation. A lot of the conversations in the game, you know, the soldiers will talk to each other, people will talk to each other, you know, enemies will talk to each other, friends will talk to each other. You do visit Q Branch, which is a really, really nice moment that I'm not going to spoil on here. All the people in Q Branch talk to each other. They're sharing little tidbits of various other missions going on around the world and stuff. Super immersive, made with absolute love. And the combat is awesome. One of the things I did want to showcase, this is early on, is that when you are in the early combat levels, it kind of acts like a tutorial. Basically, you're obviously going to be recruited by Q Branch, sorry, by MI6, and you're kind of in the training to even be considered for the 00 program. And as a result, you have to go through driving training, you have to go through shooting training, you know, close quarters combat training, obstacle courses, and then it like opens up and tells you, go get the flag and do it in whatever way you want. I'm terrible at driving these games, by the way, so the driving mechanics were very good. I'm just bad at it, by the way. So if you're like, oh god, you drove right into a pole, why is that? I suck. That's why. But don't worry about that, guys. The driving mechanic felt extremely smooth. The combat is one thing I wanted to showcase. The combat is like Arkham on crack. So Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. You have the ability to obviously punch. You have counters. You have grabs. You have counters that you can do during the grab. You have, you know, the ability to rush an enemy and shove them. And also, all of the moves you do interact with every single bit of environment that you can possibly imagine. If you are next to a wall, you will actually take the enemy and slam his head into the wall over and over and over again. You will, you know, if you're using the grab and he has a gun, you can grapple the gun. If you have the gun, this is a really cool detail, you can shoot the guy's legs and it'll stagger him. That every game does. But if you and you can you know, disarm them, you can take their gun, and now their gun is now suddenly your gun. You can shoot their gun and it'll flip it up in the air. And also, if you are out of ammo, you can throw your gun. And it is so fun to do. Sometimes I will make sure that I throw the gun just because it looks dope, even if it's not useful in any way, shape, or form at that moment. It is amazingly fun to do. And one of the things you can see, by the way, this is the little part that I was trying to highlight earlier. After the training, the early sequence of the game, you are training as a 00 agent, and the entire tutorial is a training montage. Except you play as Bond learning all of the skills. It might be one of the best done tutorials I've ever seen in a video game. You are untested. You don't know the skills. Bond is learning the skills as you are learning to play Bond, learning the skills as well. Absolutely a little bit meta, but kind of in the perfect way. And I really do wish, like, other games had done it like this, because, like, this is just genius. Obviously, you know, this is, like, kind of a perfect situation to be able to do it. So, you can't expect a lot of games to be able to do this, but, like, this was so well done. I'm just like, man, this was awesome. You feel like you're learning along with Bond. You're kind of becoming a 00 in real life. Oh, dude, it's so cool. It's absolutely so cool. Bond is getting into sticky situations, quipping himself out of it, fighting his own way out of it if he needs to. Always showing his, like, as you know, MI6 calls it, his misplaced sense of loyalty. You are a Bond that cares about your friends. You are a Bond that is willing to, you know, do anything if he needs to sacrifice himself for the mission, but he's not going to sacrifice his friends if he can avoid it. He's trying to do the mission. He's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to save everyone at the same time. And that is something that I think a lot of, you know, the later Bonds kind of forgot as well, even in the movies. Daniel Craig's Bond sometimes a little too callous, a little too serious in some ways. And I think that was like a little bit of an issue with the Daniel Craig Bond era, who I like as Bond, but he's definitely not even close to my favorite Bond. Anyways, I think this game is fantastic. The other thing I want to talk about is everyone is stellar in the game in terms of the acting. One of your trainers, one of the lead actors that's like a mentor to Bond is a character named Greenway, and he's played by the guy who plays Morgan in The Walking Dead. Absolutely kills it. M absolutely kills it. She's not preachy at all. I was a little worried about that. She actually very much believes in the human, believes, and this is because AI is a bit of a, you know, an enemy in this game. That is going to be a pressing issue. We don't know yet, but that's just an assumption. You find that out very, very early on in one of the beginning cutscenes. It just definitely seems like it'll be a recurring theme. And I think that's a really, really dope thing as well. And she really believes in Bond. She's trying to give Bond a chance. She's trying to push him. She's trying to see, you know, the greatness in him realized. Because, you know, him taking the steps that he did in the prologue to save his fellow man, it showed something to, you know, the higher-ups, and especially M. And she really kind of puts herself out there to make Bond have a chance to show his greatness. Something that I think was the perfect way to show a young Bond, to show growth, to show something without it being preachy. Fantastically done. And this is Greenway, by the way. This is the guy who plays Morgan. All the side characters are great. Even people that you think are going to be a dick at the beginning of the game, you know, very quickly are having arcs. They're learning. They're, you know, making their own way. They have their own motivations, but they're also getting to know Bond. And, you know, he is wearing them down with his charm. And that charm is in full force in a very, very positive light. So, overall, stellar first impressions. I cannot rave about this game enough. And it's not because I'm the biggest Bond fan. I'm the biggest Bond fan, which means that I want this game to be good. And I want it to be extremely good. And I played many bad Bond games. I have played absolutely terrible Bond games. I've also played some great Bond games. And I think that this game might be... I mean, it's too early to tell. But it is on track to be the best Bond game ever made. Maybe supplanting even Nightfire and GoldenEye, which is crazy high praise. I know those games are iconic. Those games are iconic for me too. I totally get it, but I mean it. This game is really encompassing every aspect of Bond. The psychological aspects of Bond, the physical aspects of Bond, the fighting of Bond, the spirit of Bond, the narrative extremely lovingly crafted. So many little details are throwbacks, but like, you know, in terms of like an homage as opposed to just being like a cheap nostalgia kick. This might be, we might be on track for Game of the Year. I don't know. So far, like Requiem is a very high bar for me. So I don't know if it'll beat Requiem for Game of the Year, but this so far, 2 hours in, in terms of gameplay, but personally, me, 4 hours. I will say, pound for pound, I'm extremely impressed. You know, at least at least in the beginning of the game, as a beginning of a game, this is a 10 out of 10. Or I would say like a 9 out of 10. There are some hiccups. There's some optimization issues. Nothing is perfect. Very few things are perfect. And but this is way up there. This is way up there. Super excited for more. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What do you guys think of Bond? What do you guys think of you know, the entire game, discussions that are going on? Are there any worries? Do you have any questions? If you do let me know those in the comments below. I will absolutely answer your questions to the best of my ability without it being spoilers. If there was something that I did not touch upon here that you want me to touch upon, I will absolutely do so. And definitely give this video a like, a comment, give this channel a sub. I will be posting all of my first session's gameplay up on YouTube. It is uploading right now. It's taking some time, so it's 4 hours of footage that I have to put up, so that takes quite a bit of time to upload. So as soon as that is uploaded, I will get that live for you guys, and that will be linked in the description as soon as it goes live as well. But this will be going up first. This first impressions review, I just wanted to give you the heads up. And if you do enjoy and you want to see bow tie, full suit, full bow tie, full cosplay for James Bond from the biggest James Bond fan, hop over to CapCorgi on Twitch as well, because I'll be playing this straight through until I finish it. I'm probably not gonna play anything else. So I am way more like I was excited, but I'm way more enraptured than I thought I would be. And as a genuine like Super Bond fan who would call out the bad if I saw any bad in an instant, I am very pleasantly surprised. So catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for your time. And Bond fans, let me know also your favorite Bond aspect in the comments below, whether it's a Bond actor, whether it is a Bond villain, whether it is a Bond quip or something about him or a gadget or something. And let me know if that is something that you want to see in the game. And also do let me know if you want me to tell you if we've already seen it, like Bond sexiness or something like that, like something like that. So far, no martinis yet. No martinis. So we have not had the martini yet, but that is not to say we won't have them. It's just we haven't seen it yet. So catch you guys in the next video.